All right, hello and how's everybody doing? I'm Jeremy Langlois coming to you from Houmas House Estate and Gardens. So good to be back on Thursdays. It's 12 o'clock and that means it's time to jump in and do some cooking. I'm super excited. Although it is getting a little hot over here in Louisiana, it's just been really beautiful out here. Enjoying the heat, enjoying getting out and about, and I hope everybody's doing well out there as well. We're about to jump in and get started with our dish. However, like always, I always encourage you guys, if you haven't yet, do us a favor and hit that like or share button. It helps us out so much here. If you enjoy what we're doing, I would really appreciate it, you hitting that share button. And also, we're live, so at any point as we're cooking, if you have any questions, we love interacting with y'all. So drop a comment in the comment section. Ask us questions. If we're able to answer them live on air, we will definitely do that. My friend Jesse's behind the camera looking at all that, or we'll be looking at the videos throughout the week and I'll try to answer them there as well. But with that said, let's go ahead and just jump in and get started. So I love pasta is just one of my down-home favorite things to cook, and particularly at home. I just love throwing together a quick pasta. I love using seasonal ingredients. We're gonna do that. And whenever I cook pasta, I don't know about y'all, but for me personally, I like pastas that are kind of light and don't have a very rich and heavy sauce, whether it be like a thick red sauce like a marinara or a very heavy sauce, say a cream sauce like an Alfredo. Well, those are fine sometimes, but overall I like a nice light pasta that just has some nice vegetables and some ingredients, and it's just all nice and lightly folded together. And that's exactly what we're doing here. So we're using Creole tomatoes, and it's tomato season here in Louisiana. And first of all, of course, you can use any tomatoes you want in this recipe. In fact, if you were to ask yourself, what exactly is a Creole tomato? There's even some myths behind that. A Creole tomato is nothing more. It was actually used almost as this kind of marketing term in the 80s, where it just meant that if you were in Louisiana, it means that the tomatoes were grown locally if you bought Creole tomatoes. It doesn't speak to a specific variety of tomato. And a Creole tomato would be a tomato that was grown in St. Bernard Parish. That would just be a Creole tomato, and it was just this moniker saying, hey, this was local, it's a Creole tomato. But what we've over time, what that's kind of just evolved to, what we think of as a Creole tomato is this kind of red, medium-sized tomato. And that's what we're using here. However, you could use baby tomatoes that you just cut. Any heirloom tomato is fantastic. Any tomato you want. We're in the heart of tomato season, so get wild out there. But we're going to do a tomato and crab pasta. Something that we're just going to go ahead and just get started and kind of throw together. And this is what I got going on. I got me a little skillet. It's heating up. And I'm going to add some extra virgin olive oil. Good for sauteing and just a great flavor as well. But just to add a little bit of richness, I'm actually going to combine two different things. Start off with olive oil, and I'm going to get a couple little pats of butter melting in here as well. And I'm kind of getting the benefits of both. I'm getting that great olive oil flavor, which, olive oil and pasta goes hand in hand. But then also butter and pasta also go hand in hand as well. So this, we just go half and half. We get the best of both worlds. Everybody with me? Good. So here, I'm going to throw this in and get it sauteing, but then we're going to talk about it. So what I love about this recipe, you'll notice there's a couple ingredients that isn't typical whenever you think of pasta. And the first thing I'm going to add in here instead of onion is I'm going to add a little bit of shredded fennel. And we're getting that snack, crackle, pop that we like. Now let's talk about this fennel as it kind of starts to sweat here. This is a fennel right here. You can find this at many grocery stores. And what you actually use is the bulb. And what we do is I just took that bulb and I just sliced it real thinly. Almost like instead of adding onion, we're just adding fennel. Now, why do we use that? Well, what I like about fennel is if you've ever had it before, it has what's known as an anise flavor, which means it has this kind of really subtle licorice flavor, which is really going to kind of transform this pasta. And it's not overpowering by any means, but it does add this nice element and flavor that's just kind of unexpected. And so I really like how we have that in this dish. Just literally letting that cook for a couple seconds. And you'll notice, look, we're in real time. Other than slicing your fennel and cooking your pasta and chopping your garlic, this all just takes minutes. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of garlic. You can't have, name a pasta dish that doesn't have garlic in it. Probably doesn't exist. We got to have a little bit of garlic going in that oil and that butter with that fennel. And we're just going to let that saute just for a second too, just to kind of cook it. Now, we're using a linguine. And while that kind of cooks, I wanted to talk about the pasta real quick. You can see I already have my pasta cooked off. However, maybe let's say we're making this from home, you would have maybe 2 burners going, one here, and you would have a pot of boiling salted water going for your pasta. Of course, you could use good old dried linguine, which is great, but what I wanted to show you and point out is if you have at your grocery store, again, it's all preference, but this is an egg pasta. I just find that's a little bit better. I like the quality of it, and it cooks faster. It only boils in about 3 minutes. I love using the egg pasta whenever I'm going to use pasta, so I just wanted to show you some different options of what you could use. But one thing that is unique to this recipe, that we actually want to reserve a cup of the cooking liquid that we boiled the pasta in, which I have right here. But if you were just doing this on the side, well, after you boil your pasta, you have that liquid right there. Our fennel and our garlic is sauteed off, so now I'm going to come in with some of those diced Creole tomatoes. And again, nothing fancy here. You know, for some tomato sauces or this, that, and other, they'll have you peel the tomato where you score the tomato with an X, you plunge it in boiling water for a couple seconds, then plunge that in ice water and you peel the tomato. Oh no, we're not messing with that. That's too much work. This is just simply took that tomato, not de-seeding it or anything. We just lightly, coarsely chopped it, threw it right in our pot and ready to go. And what I love about recipes like this is this isn't something where it's like slow cooking a red sauce for hours. That can be great and really delicious, but this is more about being quick, light, fresh, and vibrant. Just throwing everything together, lightly cooking it, and just tossing all these wonderful fresh flavors together. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. We got our tomatoes sauteing with the fennel and the garlic. Now I'm going to go in with, seafood. We're going to be adding some crab in here. I say this all the time, but you can never go wrong with lemon and seafood. So we're going to use the whole lemon. First, I got a great little microplaner. If you don't have a microplaner, a cheese grater would work fantastic as well. But first, we're just going to start by getting some of this zest, this lemon zest in here, which is going to add this nice brightness of citrus to your pasta. So we're going to just get some of that zest right there. Knock all that in there. And I'm going to go ahead, just take a knife, split it in half. And I'm going to get some of the lemon juice in here as well. These juicers are really fantastic tools of keeping the seeds out, but you don't have to stress about that too much. You can just squeeze it in there and just be careful not to get any seeds in there. But that makes life easy. So boom, we got our lemon zest and our lemon juice in here. Now I'm going to come in with that water that I saved from the cooking pasta. This is classic Italian cooking here. Whenever they would, oftentimes in Italy, they'll cook the pasta and they'll put a couple splashes of that starchy water in there, and it already has that, it's almost like a stock. It has that kind of pasta flavor, and since we have it anyway, we're just going to get that right in there. We're going to let that come up to a boil, and the reason we added this water is it's going to be a vehicle for now me to put the next kind of ingredient, which I think is a little bit interesting. First, we started with the fennel. Now we're going to add the cheese. And then oftentimes when we think of pasta, we think, oh, we're Parmesan cheese, right? But what this recipe calls for is actually Manchego cheese. And this is just going to give, Manchego cheese, it's kind of similar to Parmesan, but a little bit lighter. Not as Parmesan, whenever you have fresh Parmesan Reggiano, that's a grating cheese, meaning it's meant just to be grated and used. Whereas this, you could just cut this straight up. It's almost, I'm trying to think of things similar. It's like a Gruyere, it's like a provolone almost, but it has its own unique characteristics. And by adding that grated cheese right in here with that water, well, that cheese is going to melt, and that's what's going to kind of make the binder for this sauce, is just that pasta water and that cheese. We're not adding any cream or anything too rich, just enough cheese that's going to kind of thicken up that pasta water. Everybody with me? Simple so far. At this point, I like to go ahead, add some fresh parsley. That's going to give a nice freshness and actually kind of almost act as a palate cleanser almost as you start to eat the pasta. Just add some nice vibrance to it. So a good bit of parsley in here. And now I'm going to come in with my jumbo lump crab meat. We love, but this is a point where you could add anything. If you wanted to do shrimp, fantastic. Crawfish, fantastic. Chicken, maybe even. That grilled chicken chopped up in there would be great, but we're adding jumbo lump crab meat. Now, I want y'all to take a look at this. Jumbo lump crab meat we get from our Gulf, Louisiana blue crabs, and there's only 2 lumps in a crab. So from a crab, from a whole crab, you're only going to get 2 lumps. And if you've ever bought jumbo lump crab, it can be very expensive. And the reason why is because you have to leave all these lumps intact. So what I like to do is just treat this very gently. So although the crab meat itself is already cooked, I'm just kind of sprinkling it here. And now you'll notice I'm going to be very gentle now. I'll give it a light kind of shake because I don't want to break up that crab meat. You don't want to pay all that money for jumbo lump crab meat when you could have just bought back fin, which is cheaper. We want to keep those lumps intact. And now all I got to do to kind of bring this all together is I'm now going to fold in my pasta. Whenever you boil off your pasta, strain it off. You can leave it warm. And now I'm just going to add enough noodles in here to kind of coat that sauce that we've made. And again, this is where I want to be very gentle and just kind of lightly mix all of this together. Start to coat it. Even before I finish coating it, this is a great time to come hit it with a little bit of kosher salt. Sea salt works great too. And some cracked black pepper. Nice good bit of black pepper I like a lot, but you season it. You notice all of our recipes always say to taste. You season it how you like to. If you want to get experimental and throw different seasonings as well, this is the time to do it. But I'm just using salt and pepper. All I need here, just kind of lightly mix this together. And this, again, so light, so fresh. And again, having that manchego cheese and that fennel combined with the tomatoes, the garlic, and the lemon juice really is going to make this pasta sing and be unique from pastas that you might typically be thinking of. Just to finish this off, but again, notice how it's very light, not a heavy pasta, which I love as well. I love just something light and vibrant. We're going to come to the plate, put a nice helping of this on here. My friend Jessie, who normally will kill all this, I've got to put a little extra on it because her daughter, capital M, capital E, is here today, Mary Ellen, and she's going to have some as well because I know she's going to love it. We're going to put this on the plate. Now to finish it off, of course, come back with some more of that manchego. If you still got your grinder on here, really get some of that good cheese right on top of that. I like to go real generous with the cheese. And look, there you have it. A very simple, fresh, and seasonal pasta that you can have that just comes together so incredibly easy. So again, crab, tomato, fennel pasta, just can't beat it. If you have any questions, again, please don't hesitate to let us know in the comments. Other than that, thank y'all so much. We'll see you again next week.